welcome to 2019 and welcome to episode number 13 of Sheffield Hopcast. It is our January 2019 edition, so we thought it's kind of our 1 year anniversary, so what better way to mark it than to go all the way back to where it first began in January 2018. And I think we are literally sat in exactly the same positions that we were a year ago, in the same bar, and I think it's pretty much the same night of the year. I'm sure it was the Monday after New Year when we did this last time. But anyway, we are back at Bar Stewards. We've somehow managed to get rid of Sean for a night, but we have managed to add a couple of people into our gang. And since we're at Bar Stewards, I'm not sure if you might be able to figure out who those two guys might be, maybe?
Quite Sheffield focused, sort of.
Yeah. two very local voices that we've got for you on this one. Can either of you do like a Sheffield accent?
Not really. I can do like an atrocious Sean Bean one, which I'm not going to do now.
We'll get some beer in you.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, get a few beers. I mean, I'll do anything you want.
Mine will change if it's someone broad, I suppose. But yeah.
So we've got Alan Charlie of Bar Stewards here, no Sean, but the other three of us are here. So let's do beer of the month. So Adam, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. Mine come really late on in the month, December. Not really like me at all. It was a beer I wasn't planning on trying, but I was convinced by Adam over at Shakespeare that it was one of his favourite beers of the year, so I opted for a third of it, and it's Zygote Barrel Aged Salted Caramel Chocolate Chip Cookie Stout by Amundsen. Is it Amundsen?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was amazing.
Which is it Norway? I think it's Norwegian brewery. I think it's Norwegian.
That's got a lot of stuff going on.
It's absolutely probably one of the best beers I've ever tasted.
Wow.
It smelled incredible. It smelled like I wanted to make a candle out of it and sell it at Christmas.
Is that the one we had on New Year's Eve?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah, that was actually really good.
I have heard from them that the non-barrel aged one was actually better. And I'm like, I can't even believe that were better. But so yeah, it's a 10.5% salted caramel choc chip cookie stout, Zygote, and it was incredible.
It sounds very Laura.
It's nothing like what I would, and it's just I just go and try and find any of their beers. There's a lot of the dessert in a can ones out, which I have had as well, which were close seconds, and you'll be able to get them from some bottle shops. I know Sean does a couple of cans.
I think it's the best stout I ever had.
It was good.
Yeah.
But they also did, I can't remember the name of the beer, but they did a collab with Verdant. They did an IPA, which was back in the summer, and that was really good. One of our regulars managed to bring the can in for us, and
so they wait until the very end of the year to get something like that in, and I'm like, I'm not going to say it's my beer of the year, but like, I can't believe that it took that long to get something that incredible. So,
I mean, we will come to nominations for Best Beer of the Year a little bit later on as part of our Golden Hops, which we made up about a week ago and have somehow managed to actually knock into shape to do. So Laura, Beer of the Month.
Okay, so I've gone for an Imperial Stout as well.
Oh, very nice.
Mine was from House of Trembling Madness in York. I went Christmas shopping for the day with my mum a week or so before Christmas. Went in House of Trembling Madness, and they had a full Northern Monk Tap takeover on. And my mum, who'd driven me to York and was going to drive me home, was like, let's have an Imperial Stout. So it's a beer that I shared with my mum because she couldn't drink very much of it, and it was fantastic. It's a collaboration that Northern Monk have done with Old Chimneys, who are quite renowned for their Good King Henry Imperial Stout. This was a bourbon barrel-aged Imperial Stout called The Divine Right of Kings.
It's another bourbon barrel.
And it was 9.6%, I think. And just one of them drinks that you have a little sip and you absolutely just completely sink into it, and your whole face is like, that's amazing. Yeah. So Northern Monk do a lot of really good stouts, but I'm gonna say it's the best Northern Monk stout I've ever had.
Wow.
It's really good.
Which is saying a lot, because they do produce some absolute bangers, isn't it? Yeah.
Spot on.
I think we missed that one.
We missed that one. Yeah.
Which is surprising, because we do get quite a lot of Northern Monk in here, but it's one of those ones that's maybe pass me by. I do have a bit of colour blindness when it comes to beer. I tend to look for the pale pale varieties, and the rest kind of like fall in the wayside. So yeah, no, that sounds amazing. That sounds really good.
And my mum liked it as well,
Well,
which is nice.
So I've had a lot of decent beers this month, but I'm going to deliberately rule some out because I want to pick a Christmas beer because I feel like I should, and I thought that Laurie might have done the same. Actually, I thought you were going to go for like a Christmassy beer because you're a big Christmas fan. So I had quite a few Christmas beers, and I'm going to pick the one that was the least Christmassy of the Christmas beers that I had, but it was the one that surprised me the most, and that is the Christmas Crink. Crink, is that the word I'm looking for? Creek.
Yeah.
By Gypsy Hill, which was it was a cherry sour. It was really nice. I don't know what it had to do with Christmas at all, if anything, but it was only like 3 point something percent. It was very gentle. It was very enjoyable, and it was I've got through quite a few Christmassy beers over the period, and it was one of the first ones that I had, and probably my favourite out of all of them.
Really
So
enjoyed that.
I'm flying the festive flag. Festive till February.
Yeah, we've just decided about half an hour ago that we're going to
Yeah.
make that a hashtag. Festive till Feb.
Me and Laura were going to use that on. We were on a stupidly early radio show, which you might have heard of, the Christmas pairing beers with food, and I'd taken that one along as a potential one. But I think some of the food switched around a bit, didn't it? And we decided against it. And I'm so glad because it meant that I had that can all to myself rather than pouring a very small amount for someone to sip and then just leave it on the side, like at 7 a.m. in the morning for no one to really finish. And I was pretty gutted that it was only kind of out of it, because I agree, it was like super, like it was so refreshing as well. It's just like
Just what you
3.4
need,
or
I think,
something like that.
sometimes, isn't it, as well? Like when
I wish I didn't.
all you're doing is eating cheese and you're full all the time and you've got all these heavy things going on, and then you're like, I'll have a 3% Creek. Really
Well, I
good.
did on Christmas night. I had a bottle of the Duchess. I'm not much of a sour fan, but it's got to the point where I'd had so much just like stodge throughout the day. I just needed something a bit
It's a bit
sharp just to cut through it all, and it was lovely. Really enjoyed it, but I don't know. My palate is developing, shall we say?
Well, I don't know. You said you don't like dark beers. You're not a particular
No,
fan
I
of
do. I
sours.
do like dark beers. It's just I think my brain is predominantly set up to deal with hops. I don't know what it is like, and since we've had, obviously we've got a new bar manager started, Jay, and since he's come in, he's kind of like showing me that there's actually different styles of beers out there, and I'm enjoying them. It's been really nice. He's, one of the beers that we've chosen for later is a beer that neither of us would really have kind of looked at 12 months ago, but now all of a sudden it's probably one of the best things I've drunk all year. Really enjoyed it. I mean, I kind of look at these beers now and go, could I make a gravy out of it? and if I could, then it's a good beer as far as I'm concerned. And the beer that we've got coming out would make an amazing gravy, like a really good gravy.
Cool. Well, guys, seeing as you're joining us for the whole of the episode tonight, you get the great honour of picking out your respective beers of the month as well.
Awesome. Well, I'll go first then. I had it. I think it was on the cusp of December. I think it was just turning in December, but it was a beer called Compulsory Fun. It was brewed by Left-Handed Giant, Daya, and Magic Rock, which are kind of three of the breweries that I've really enjoyed this year. Left-Handed Giant in particular, they've seemed to have kind of crept up under everyone's radar. They've always made good, solid beers, but all of a sudden, they're making very good ones. It was an IPA. Three of my favourite hops, Citra, Mosaic and Columbus, just whacked in with the most ridiculous amounts that you can imagine. 6.5%. I mean, we had it
Good session strength.
Good, well, session for me.
It's the niche in America that genuinely is.
Exactly.
Session.
But we had it in can and keg, and both of them
Flew
were
up,
absolutely
absolutely.
outstanding, and
Wow.
just sold out to the point where, what we do now is, because we've learned a lesson, is we as soon as the orders come in, we have a word and we get a couple of cans put aside for us, because often
We miss out.
Often we
Don't
miss
wanna
out
miss
now.
out,
Yeah,
stuff.
these beers come in and we might not be in that day.
It's the only
and then-
reason we got a pub.
Well, yeah, to be honest, like, yeah. But yeah, that was definitely. I mean, there's a couple of contenders. I've had some really good beers this month. And we had our Magic Rock tap takeover for New Year's Eve, and we had some outstanding stouts. A lot of stouts, in fact, but ones I really enjoyed. But for me, because obviously I'm a hop beast, that kind of ticked every box for me this month. It was an absolute banger.
Sounds good. Charlie?
We took a trip to Leeds on business. We went to Northern Monk and we went to North because we've been wanting to get more North Brew beers in, and we met lovely Faye up there, which gave us a few free tasters and everything, but in particular one beer, which was an Indian Pale Ale, which was a collab between North Brew and Barrier, and it was absolutely insanely good, and I couldn't wait to get it in the bar, which we pretty much did, or put a full order in there and then. And it was just great because, you know, especially the brewery as well, it's like, you know, a couple of tables right next to where everyone's still cleaning up all the brewing equipment. They've got the bar open, they don't care, it's all still going on. Whereas obviously you go somewhere, Northern Monk's a bit bigger, and, you know, there's that separation of everything. It's
to be fair though, North do have some nice big bars in the middle of town.
Oh, they do as well now. Yeah, we did go to we went to the opening, but yeah, that particular beer, you know, it's a bit. It'd be disappointing for bar stewards not to be picking pales for their beer of the month.
But with Barrier as well, though, with it being a New York brewery, there's a brewery I hadn't really come across before, and they've done quite a few call-outs. I think they did the same thing that Finback did. I think they came over and just collabed with everybody they could. But they're a brewery I'll be keeping an eye out for now. You know, just off the back of that call-out brew, really, it was great. It was outstanding.
I think I had that beer as well. It kind of made me think about beers that I was really enjoying earlier in the year.
Yeah.
And I thought, I've kind of forgotten that taste. People kind of almost drifted away from it a little
You've got your
bit.
signature breweries,
good.
haven't you? And you go, right, okay, if it's like some of my favourites, then
yeah, it was good.
fantastic. So.
I had a really good North brew actually, just while we're having some North love. Cobra and Phases, which is the weirdest name I've ever
really good.
Raspberry and lychee sour IPA.
That was
really good.
I don't think we've ever done a North beer on the Hopcast before.
No,
They're good.
Well, maybe we should do one tonight.
Have we got any left?
we did one on the radio thing, didn't we? Did the hibiscus, what's it called?
The Vespertine, yeah.
That was,
that's
and I've forgotten how good that is. It's like a sour.
It's been around for a while
Yeah,
now.
is it hibiscus and
Well, they had that
rhubarb or something like that.
Yeah, that curious orange out recently as well,
yeah.
which is really good. Again, they're another brewery that seems to have just flown under the radar and all of a sudden gone, hello.
Yeah.
We'll see if they get a nomination later on. Here's how it's going to work tonight. Well, first thing I was going to do is play the game of how many people will try and get in the pub while we record the podcast. Because last year when we did this and the pub was actually closed, and I think it was about 7 or 8 people tried to get in. But during the course of this year, you've got blinds now, so the blinds are down and shut. So
moving up in the world.
I suspect that there'll be no one that tries to bash the door down or
unless you see his legs through that.
Same tables and chairs, but we've got blinds, small steps and all that.
So we'll not play that game. What we're going to do is 2 things. So no Sean tonight, who obviously normally is the guy that provides the beer. So we thought we'd take the opportunity to tap into something that's been around for 2 or 3 years now, but has become a kind of a bigger thing as every year goes by, and that is Tryanuary. So each of us has brought along a beer that we're all going to taste, and it's something that maybe we wouldn't normally go for, or something that's a little bit different, or something that we've not had before, just along the lines of Tryanuary. And while we're having each beer, we're also going to come up with our nominations for the first ever Hopcast Golden Hops Awards, which we kind of did last year, where we just talked about our favourite venues of the previous year and favourite beers of the previous year and stuff like that. So this year we're going to do exactly the same, but we're going to come up with a shortlist, and we're going to let you guys vote for the winners in various different categories. But we've been talking for 40 minutes and we've not had a beer yet. What's going on? This is the longest ever. So our first beer tonight, we're going to go across to Adam.
Yeah, I picked these bottles up last week from Walkley Beer Co. And I was struggling a bit because I think I was going to go for something barrel aged, but seeing as my beer of the month was barrel aged and blew my socks off, I thought that'd be a bit cheeky. So I went for another thing, and I love my IPAs, but I like a straight up IPA. I don't like people messing around with it. So I picked one that has got spruce tips and berries in it, and it's called Pining for the Fjords, 6.8% IPA, a collaboration between Blackjack and Wild Weather Ales. So
Generally a fan of Wild Weather.
Yeah, I
Do some really
I don't
good
want to
sours.
badmouth them, but the ones I've had a long time ago, I wasn't that keen on. So again, something I might not always opt for. So we'll see how this pans out.
So we start on
Getting pulled.
6.8%.
a 6.8% IPA. Okay, so while we pour this, I will introduce the first Golden Hops category, which is Best Event. Now, this is not restricted to Sheffield, so this event can be from anywhere, nationally, internationally, and I guess it kind of comes from our own experiences. So our favourite event that we attended during 2018, obviously with a bit of a beer slant there. So, I mean, Adam, you've picked the beer. Do you want to be the first to put
event?
forward something for best event?
Oh, I don't get to too many events, but the events I've been to this year have been pretty strong.
Last year?
Yeah, in the last year, yeah. So I've been to. Do you know what? I'm gonna put something different, because I think the two other ones are kind of what I expected. The one that I didn't know exactly what I'm going to be putting myself in for, or what I'm going to be, is Funkfest, Aberdale Funkfest, which that's not no bias towards it, but it's something that I've never been to Aberdale Brewery. They very rarely opened it up to anything. There were so many unexpected things and different breweries and different beers that you just don't get anywhere at all, really. Especially some of the stuff that they've done for the collaboration stuff is absolutely brilliant, and I just love the whole vibe of it. It was nice to be in this kind of proper working brewery, and it weren't like any sort of segregated little things. I think everyone should, if they've not been, and there's going to be another one next year, that's something that I'd like to see again. So I'll put that one forward.
Yeah, second that was really good. I enjoyed it when I went. Yeah.
I didn't make it.
You
was
were
I?
away.
I didn't make it either for some
Yeah,
reason.
no, I was away. I can't remember where I was, but I remember, Charlie
I went
was
with
our
Jay.
representative for the day. Oh yeah, you went with Jay, didn't you?
Jay
Yeah.
was our representative.
He's got a
And
t-shirt,
remains
hasn't
that
he?
Yes, he has got a t-shirt. Yeah.
That was great. I really enjoyed it. Fantastic choice.
So, Al, anything that you want to put forward?
Yeah, I've been to a few this year. I enjoyed Hop City, but I can't remember a great deal about it, so it's probably not the best one to mention. One that is probably, it's been going for a few years, but it's the first time I've gone. Really enjoyed Indie Man this year. Really enjoyed it. The venue's amazing. The selection of breweries was really good. We went quite early and managed to get ourselves around before it got really busy, because it did get like mega.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just as an event, I really enjoyed it. I think next year, because we went as punters rather than trade, so I think next year we'll arguably maybe go as trade and try and actually like get a bit of work done. Although I tried to do that at Hop City and that failed miserably, because I couldn't remember my own name by the end of it. But yeah, really enjoyed it. I know it's probably cliched, kind of obvious one to say, but for me it was the first time I'd gone, and it kind of lived up to the hype. Again, I'd suggest if anybody's going to try and go earlier rather than later, because it does get quite busy. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. And then you've got Manchester to go out in afterwards, so it's it's pretty good. Yeah.
Okay, Laura?
I'm going to chuck in an honourable mention for Smokefest at Torside, just because I loved how unbelievably niche it was, but it was just brilliant, and they smoked blue cheese to serve as snacks on the side. But the event that I'm going to pick as my absolute favourite of the year is Finefest, held at Fine Ales up in Scotland.
Yeah, awesome.
And I think one of the reasons I loved it so much was because whilst there's such a fantastic range of beer, really good, bar setup, bar service, all of that kind of thing. It was the kind of, like, you could almost forget that you were at a beer festival, and I mean that in a good way. Like, the camping was the most beautiful setting, kind of just the whole vibe of what was going on was just really family friendly, and it was just brilliant. It was a weekend of pure losing yourself in Scotland, no phone signal, nothing, just switch off from the rest of the world. drink some beers with some good friends in a lovely place. So I'm going for Fine Fest.
Good choice. Good choice. The way this works, by the way, is because you can only have 4 options on a vote on Twitter. Charlie, if you pick something that no one else has picked, then that's the 4 nominations.
To be fair, my option was going to be Indie Man as well, so might make things a little bit easier.
All I'm saying is that I've got an option that I can bowl in if we need a 4th, but if you've got something that's different that you want to put in there,
I mean, to be different, because I probably remember more of it than Al. Hop City was fantastic. 3 floors of absolute delicious beers, incredible breweries. I mean, we had Other Half and Foam and all of these incredible beers over from the breweries over from the States. They had good food on outside. I mean, it was insane how much beer was being drunk very quickly and at high ABV. I think we've learnt our lesson from this last time.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't think that's how it works, but it is definitely worth a visit. I think the tickets are out now for the next year, and I think it's an all-in-one ticket now. They're not doing it.
We should probably clarify this because we were a bit unfair on them in the half pint episode.
Yeah, it wasn't massively clear on what they released at the time, what is included. And I did see actually on Twitter they had to put a sticky post saying this does include beer, because we were going like, if that's 49 quid and no beer, that's ridiculous.
They've just gone down the same route as they do with Dark City, because I think Dark City's always been that you literally pay a fee and then you turn up and drink.
I
mean, I wouldn't pay.
And it's not bad value though.
No, it's fine.
49 quid for
Go
a beer
to it.
involved.
Sounds great.
The Cloudwater one in March or whenever it is 60. So so 49's not bad at all. All right, so our shortlist then for best event is Funkfest, Indie Man, Fine Fest, Hop City. That's not a bad shortlist at all. No. To be fair, we've done pretty well there.
No, I want to know what you were going to say.
Honourable mentions.
Honourable mention. Well, mine would have been. I'd have gone down a local line, and I'd have picked out Indie Beer Feast because of the fact that, partly because it's local, but also because in the same way that Indie Man's got that quirkiness of the venue that you can get lost in it. Yeah. I thought for something in its first year to be in a venue that was as unusual as Abbeydale Picture House, where you kind of go up some stairs and then back down some stairs, you're in a different room. I thought it got a lot of character for something that was effectively in its first year.
Yeah.
Tickets for Indie Beer Feast are out now as well, aren't they?
But
they are.
It was great. Before I said mine was toying between that basically and that, but I just think this is something quite unique about Funkfest. I think that I just really liked it. I think just edged it just for that reason, but I would definitely go to Indie Beer Feast again. I think they were absolutely brilliant. So,
It's not very long away either.
No, March.
It's going on very quickly.
March.
Is it to do with Sheffield Beer Week, or was it?
Usually
It's kind of the kick-off event, isn't it? It kind of starts the week, and it's spread over 2 days rather than just one day this year as well.
Well, go this year. Now we've got staff.
We didn't do anything big chunk of this year because we're too busy stood behind the flipping bar.
Less than a tenner as well.
Yeah, cheers, dude.
Pining for the Fjords.
Do you know what? This is actually pretty good.
It smells a lot different than it tastes. I think it smells it smells like it might be sour, but
it's pleasant, but it is weird. I'm not sure if I tasted it blind. I'd actually know it was a beer.
It's
I don't know what I think it is, but
I think carbonation could be a little bit.
I think it's the berries coming through because there's cranberry, I've got blueberries in it.
Berries. I feel like I should probably just do a disclaimer that my taste buds are definitely faulty at the moment. So I've had several beers with Adam before we came here, and each one I've been like, this tastes of. I had one earlier in Rutland, and I was like, this tastes of paint. And it smells of paint. This is definitely.
Maybe
paint.
it's just the beer you had.
And then a beer across the road at the Shakespeare, and I was like, this tastes of cheese. No, it's bacon. It's cheese and bacon.
And he's vegetarian. So.
I don't know what. Yeah, I've got no idea what bacon tastes like.
You try not to drink.
Have you never tried bacon?
No, have you? Of course not.
Yeah,
but not for a few years.
Exactly. I was going to say. I'd hold your own force bacon into your mouth. No, I'm actually pleasant.
All right, here's Morgan.
Sorry. By the way, I actually quite like the vegan sausage rolls. I'm not getting into that. No, do you know what? That is surprisingly good, and I'm kind of the same as you. I'd look at, and there's nothing against the breweries, but I'd look at those two breweries individually, and probably they're not in my top 10. If there's other options on the bar, I'd probably drink them.
I like a cask blackjack.
Yeah. But you whack them together, I think that's really nice.
It's really interesting, and tastes really good.
If you told me this was a sour, I'd be less surprised.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing.
It smells like it could be a sour.
The lines are so blurred, aren't they now?
It benefits from being a little bit warmer as well. I'd imagine that being freezing cold, just not.
It's been in the fridge
really
all day,
tasty.
but it's been out since maybe 5 o'clock. So
That's fine. It's
I
perfect
like
temperature.
it. Right, good start.
And in terms of Tryanuary as well, and going for something a bit different, I think it definitely fits that.
definitely.
Shout out to Nick at Walkley Beer Co. because I went to say, I said, I want something different. And he picked a few out. There was another couple of options, but they didn't have 2 bottles of them left. So I thought, I need 2 bottles because I need to get around 5 people. So I saw that, and I thought, do you know what? That does tick a box for me. I don't like people messing around with an IPA, and I think, but that nothing tastes fussy in that. There's nothing sticks out. Nothing's.
No, it's not trying too hard, is it?
No.
Pointy, sprucey kind of thing.
Like I said, we've had spruce IPAs, and it's just tasted like a tree.
Yeah, I'm not enjoying it.
Well, and it's been nice, but it's been kind of one of those where you have a third and go, do you know what? That's enough for me.
Done it now. Yeah.
But I could happily drink a bottle of that.
It's lovely.
Yeah. But I do agree though, if you drunk that blindfolded, you would go, I'm not really sure what style this is, because it is actually quite sour. But yeah, like it.
Okay, well, over to our hosts / guests.
Right.
So
We've just changed our mind last minute.
We need 2 bottles. So the one we did want to give you, we've only got 1 bottle left, so we'll just drink that later. But this one is Yonder Brewery from Somerset. So we have got Dunstan's Exile, which is a house pale, farmed and foraged botanicals inspired with the complex yet quaffable beers of Belgian tradition. So
right, okay.
And we have Grains of Paradise, lavender, orange peel, and juniper berries. So it's going to be quite interesting.
The ooh that I made when he brought that over then, by the way, was because I think I'm correct in saying Yonder were one of the breweries on the Thirsty Games bar at Indie Man. I don't think they won. I think they might have been one of the 3. And they did a beetroot beer that was on there, and it was one of my favourite beers of Indie Man. And I haven't tried anything else by them since.
What's the percentage on it?
5.5.
5.5.
5.5.
So while we
We
acclimatise our palates to this, and to me it'll probably taste like something like mouse or something stupid.
I've got margarita
taste buds
pizza
aren't
from
working.
that.
On to our next Golden Hops. This is a 2-parter. So this is Best Brewery, but there's subcategories. So there's Best Local Brewery and Best National Brewery. So we're not going international for this, so we're going either Sheffield or non-Sheffield, but still within the UK. So let's go in a different order this time, and let's go Laura first for your 2 nominations, Best Local and Best National Brewery for 2018.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to be horribly biased. I would have said Abbeydale were I not affiliated with them, because I do genuinely think that over the past couple of years, but especially the last year, the steps the brew team have made in getting absolutely exceptional beers out has gone from strength to strength. So I've just got that off my chest. I can't not say it, but I'm actually going to pick Neep's End, because I think when they're about 2 years old, 3 years old now, and for the first year or so, I wasn't too convinced. Found in their stuff, it suited the market of blonde cask ales really well, but I didn't really see them as doing anything else, and they've completely proved me wrong over the last year. Some of their kind of their IPAs and their single hopped pales I've found exceptional. Some of the few beers that we've sat in the pub and just stayed on them the whole afternoon. Their Callisto IPA I really enjoyed, and the Kokos stout that they did as well I thought was absolutely delicious. So I just think they've really, really upped their game this year. They're sitting really, really well on bars across Sheffield, and I think they're doing a great job.
I think a lot of people have said that in the last. I've heard several people.
I think
really
I think their cask is absolutely outstanding, and also as well. I mean, I drink in the Sheepfield quite a lot, and when they've got Neep's End keg on, it's actually pretty good. you know.
Oh, there was I think it was Laurel Hopped IPA.
Yeah.
That was on keg was.
They did,
Stunning.
yeah, they did a New England one, which I can't remember the name of it, but I had it back in summer because I go down there with the wife and the kids, and yeah, had a half of that and thoroughly enjoyed it. So yeah, 100%. I agree with that.
Me and James and I literally walked over with Adam, who was the sort of cellar manager over at Shakespeare, and he said, I can't remember what we were talking about. It was like, have you had that Wendigo from 100%? And I'm like, yeah, I have actually. I had it the other week, and it's like we couldn't get over how good that was. We were literally just like, give it us all. It's like such a good. I think what I've enjoyed them is the kind of their oat kind of pale, one without like some sort of oat character. It's like that just really smooth and kind of hazy and really beautiful.
Do you want me to do my national one now? Or
Yeah, let's go national as well.
Local? Okay. National brewery, I've gone for Burning Sky. They've, for a long time, been one of Jim's favourite breweries. And I've always liked their beers, but because they were more known for their like saisons and wild beers and things like that, I wasn't quite as into them. But this year, I've had their Brute IPA, I thought was superb. And then a couple of weeks before Christmas, had a bottle share with some friends, and we had the Burning Sky Imperial Stout, and I was expecting it to be, decent, with them being a good brewery, but I wasn't expecting it to be spectacular because it's not what they're known for doing, and it absolutely was, and it just made me think, yes, this is a brewery that can turn their hand to anything and just absolutely do it with aplomb, which is one of my favourite words, and I save it for when I really mean it.
We should do Golden Hop for best word.
That is a verbal stamp right there.
So for that reason, I'm going for Burning Sky.
Okay, we're going to go to Al next. So
Okay.
your nominations for local and national.
I would agree with yourself and say Arbydale. I've been my local brewery of the year. I always kind of thought of Arbydale as being quite a traditional brewer, like some Deception and stuff like that. But you possibly brewed my favourite cask beer of the year in Heathen. As soon as that went on to cask, that was just unreal. I mean, I can't get enough of that beer. It's absolutely awesome. And then Huckster came out, which I thoroughly enjoyed. And then you came out with a 6-can range, and it's just got better and better every beer release. So I am an Arbydale convert. I've always liked Arbydale, but I've always kind of considered them to be a traditional style brewery, and I think Sheffield is a little bit lacking in breweries that are doing something a little bit different. I'd give like an honourable mention to someone like Lost Industry, who are again another brewery that seem to be, pushing the barrier out a bit and doing crazy sour beers and big IPAs and big stouts primarily. But yeah, I'd say Arbydale are most definitely my local heroes, definitely.
Okay, what about nationally?
Nationally, I think Northern Monk have been absolutely smashing it this year. If we're going to be, I think we're talking about our beer of the year later. I think mine is probably a Northern Monk. I've no one in particular in mind that I'll mention. But again, their patron project just goes far above. It's very rare that we get a patron project in that I drink and don't enjoy, and that includes lots of different styles again that I wouldn't usually go for. I think they're going to be hard to beat.
Okay.
I think they're really good.
Charlie?
Well, I am going to put Lost Industry forward as my local brew. I think one of the main reasons, other than anything else, is I've got really into sours in the last year, and I think that it's good to have a local brewery that's doing quite a lot of that work. But on the flip side as well, we obviously did our collab for our birthday beer with them as well,
Of course you did, yeah.
and had a really good day out. Jumping in and getting rid of the mash tub rubbish and sweating like a set of unfit bastards that we are.
Yep, yeah, that was good.
And they're just a great bunch, and I do wish them well, and I hope they continue to grow the way they have been doing, and they've made their stamp across the nation. I know that a lot of the people from the UK Craft Forum really like them, and I hope it continues. Nationally, Northern Monk is definitely, but I'm going to go for Verdant. Just because I don't think I've ever had a beer from there that I've gone, that's all right. And I think that's saying something of a brewery that just absolutely spends the money on the ingredients. They fill those cans and they continue to do that. I mean, what they've got planned right now is incredible, and we're going to see a lot more Verdant on the shelves because of it. But yeah, it's going to have to be Verdant number one. So.
Okay. Right, Adam, it's down to me and you now. I'm going to let you pick the last local. I'm going to pick the last national.
So we've got to split this up then?
Yeah.
So I've got to tell you my local one?
Yeah.
Okay. It's going to be a repeat of one that's been said already. But I was almost going to do what Laura did. And it's like, I've already gone at the Abbeydale of absolutely... just mirroring what everyone said, basically. Some of the stuff that's come out is...
This is the reason I said you need to pick local, because I can't see past Abbeydale.
Okay.
I just can't.
Well, yeah, I mean, everything from like the branding of all the new can stuff to all the styles, what the gym's producing is just absolutely blown my mind on sometimes. Some of the stuff that's come out of there, like that Encantada, the group one, and just stuff that I didn't even knew were even beer. So all the stuff like Huckster, which I was sad that I couldn't get any more cans of that, and I still look at the little pink label longingly.
I think everyone in Sheffield have got that in.
And anybody who's kind of said a bad word about it, I've gone like, did you fucking taste that beer?
It's our first beer that we bought.
I thought because that's the first swear.
First swear? No. I said bastard a little while ago.
Bastard's not a swear.
A bastard's raised a fuck.
Yeah.
Bastard's definitely not a swear.
So what I was going to do is I was going to go Neeps End. But I don't think it really matters, really, does it? If I'm going to pick one, Neeps End and Abbeydale, I would quite happily put either of those in. So I'll just go the opposite of. I'll go Neeps End just to.
Okay. So we've got our three then being Neeps End, Abbeydale, Lost Industry, which I think is a very strong.
Can I have an honourable mention just for something that's like a bit more traditional?
We've got room for a.
I don't have to put it in necessarily,
nomination, but go for it.
Like obviously, new brewery, Loxley Brewery near me. You know, they've absolutely turned that pub round. They put brilliant beers on, not just traditional stuff. They've installed a brewery downstairs. They've got really good branding. They've put a core set of like 6-7 beers out, which they're not doing specials. They're just using those. And to be honest, for an upstart, I don't think the guys professionally brewed ever before as well. Quite happily drink those beers, and like I think for a traditional market, there's plenty of room for them, and to challenge like your Bradfield and stuff, and you'll start to see them about. I'm sure they do a lot of like swaps with the breweries and other pubs and stuff. Yeah. Quite sharp branding and stuff. So just honourable mention to them for like actually surprising me because
let's stick them on the shortlist. Why not?
So
we've got room for one more, so
yeah.
let's go with that. So let's go with Neeps End, Abbeydale, Lost Industry, and Loxley. We've got room for one more national. See, I was going to go for Wylam because I think
I was going to go for Wylam.
Brilliant.
I agree. Why Island?
Yeah.
Wylam.
No, they are. Yeah.
Wylam, I think, are the brewery that have surprised me the most this year and have been the most consistent. I think every beer that I've had. I kind of agree with regards to Verdant, but there's been a couple of Verdant beers, particularly kind of like the second half of the year that have not quite hit the mark for me. I don't think I've had a single beer by Wylam that's not been superb this year.
It's the range from Wylam as well. I mean, I love Verdant. They brew my favourite style of beer, but they pretty much only brew my favourite style of beer. Wylam do lots and lots of different styles, and they do them all very well. Again, that's one of the reasons I chose Northern Monk, because it's the same thing. They just do different styles, and they do them amazingly well.
I'm excited for Jake Heading cans as well.
I've seen that.
They said they've tweaked the recipe slightly as well. So
that's one of the first beers that I remember sort of like my transition from mainly drinking cask beer to being like.
Do you know what? It's amazing the bias against bottles nowadays as well. Honestly, owning a bar with a bottle shop attached to it, it's basically should be a can shop because the cans by far outsell bottles, which is weird really, because traditionally bottles are seen as a much cleaner, better way of storing them. But
2 out of 2 beers so far.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I'm saying that. Yeah, exactly.
It's easy for the consumer, isn't it? I think that's what it is, isn't it?
No, but I can guarantee you, Jake Head in cans will sell way better than it will do in bottle. Yeah, it's just a fact.
Yeah, just to put my mention on Wylam is that. I think at the start of the year when we started this thing, I was saying that I didn't really like that kind of New England kind of style beer and stuff. And then for some reason I managed to tick Wylam beers off for the first 4 months almost, to the point where I said, I need to choose a different style of beer. I remember really loving I Like to Move It in the first month. And then I went to Copenhagen. Wylam must have just dropped a load of beer in Copenhagen when I was that weekend, because I was hitting loads of their stuff and just thinking, actually, this is incredible. And it was them who actually switched me from that West Coast style to that kind of more East Coast kind of style. And they've just smashed it over through a year with all sorts of styles, and particularly that kind of, you know, paler style I've enjoyed most. But I think if I were to go through my year of monthly best beers, I think they would probably easily come top. So yeah,
There just seems to be a little bit less hypey as well than a lot of breweries.
They just get it done,
you
don't
know,
they?
Cloudwater kind of hit a peak and have sort of plateaued since.
They are plummeting.
And there's a few other breweries that have kind of they've had such a hype around them that really, when you hit that point, you're only really going to kind of go downhill. And I think Wylam have been a bit understated and just got on with making some really good beers this year.
cracking branding as well.
Well,
sure.
yeah, well, Indie Man, they were one of the stalls that I thoroughly enjoyed. I basically drank everything.
They were in the
that was
disco
on there.
room, weren't they?
They were, yeah. Yeah, and the Whiplash were down there as well.
Well, that
which
was in fact, I would say the wine and Whiplash collab was probably one of my beers. At the
Yeah,
festival.
that was cracking.
If
Yeah,
Whiplash,
that was
if
fantastic.
Whiplash weren't Irish, then I'll probably put them in as a contender.
Get out! Half Irish here, boy.
Yeah, but this is
And him.
Yeah, no, but they are international.
Yeah,
aren't they?
this is international. We're
Yeah,
about
yeah.
nationally. I've loved every single beer I've ever had of theirs.
No, Whiplash, and they are canny lads, shall we say?
It wasn't against Irish, it was against them not
that
being
was
that.
great. It was great making it look that way, though, wasn't it?
He went bloody Irish, I loved that. Yeah.
So Yonder. I don't think I've had a Yonder beer before.
See,
No,
I haven't actually had this.
Do you know
one.
what?
And do you know what? We have picked one that I wouldn't actually try. It's got that sort of.
The other one we wanted to give you was better.
Yeah, we totally agree on
This
that.
is actually the more I've drunk this,
It's
got
I've
veggies,
got
isn't
quite
it?
into it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think
It's just mellow, isn't it? It's really mellow.
it's too subtle at the beginning.
It's kind of like slightly saisonly on the nose, but it tastes more like sort of like a.
But not so much banana.
Not very like.
Because
I
that's
can
how
smell the
thing.
lavender
It's like a
in it
really
on the
nice sort of
nose.
elderflower juice or something that you'd have.
If someone told me it wasn't beer, I could be quite happy to say that. Okay.
That sort of Belgian-y finish.
Feels like you could.
Yeah, it has got a Belgian finish.
I think I'm the same. I wasn't sure at first, but as I've drank more, I've got.
There's
more
no
into it.
jarring flavour in it at all. Like it's quite
No, it's
steady.
very mellow.
It is pleasant.
It's
You know.
soft.
It's soft, yeah.
Again, you know,
And it-
session beer, 5.5%. You know, you could.
It fits the Tryanuary sort of agenda that we've got going on. It's something different. Right, so we now go for our third beer of the night, and we are going to Laura.
Okay, so I've gone down the Tryanuary line in two different ways. Firstly, I've brought what I think is a new to me brewery, although I may have had one of their beers on cast before, but a brewery that I'm not particularly familiar with anyway. Northern Whisper, who are from Rossendale in Lancashire.
Rosendale,
There we go.
Rosendale,
Lancashire.
near Birmingham.
And I've brought a beer called Rumermonger, and it's a Dunkelweiss, and I'm not really a wheat beer fan, but I keep trying them and I am getting a bit more into them, so I thought I'll give it a go. It's a beer I've never come across before. I bought this from Bowland Brewery out near Clitheroe. Have a beer hall with a farm shop attached to it and an ice cream parlour, and I believe they're opening a cinema, and they've just got this amazing complex in the heart of Clitheroe, and I got this from the farm shop there.
I
It's
actually
a
really
really
like
chocolatey
that.
finish.
Tastes like every other wheat beer I've ever had.
I think it's right.
But I don't know. I just don't think I've got the palate for wheat
tastes,
beers. Like,
I think that tastes.
oh, it's lovely. It's really good.
It's quite. It's
Bearing in mind we've had like a beer that's sort of just beforehand.
Yeah,
that
been
sort of
quite-
Yeah, this might be
Belgian
another one that
finish,
needs to
but
build
this
a little
one
bit.
doesn't actually have that. It's sort of.
It's malty. It's
It
caramelly.
changes.
I like that, yeah.
Mm.
Quite caramelly finish, I think.
Yeah.
Like, you get that kind of like sweetness.
So I've come across
Easy
Mobley
to drink.
quite a lot
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we've had them on cask a few times. They're one of the breweries where they're all right. You know, their cask is decent. It's you know, it's not gonna change the world,
It's
but
not going to
it,
outsell what you can get locally. Do you know what I mean?
But it does.
Beat it up, but-
it does what it says on the tin. That's
It's
a
got
new style for them, and yeah,
there's
I
a
like
really
it.
nice little bit of roasty flavour right in the
Yeah.
middle of the.
Yeah, I'm enjoying
So
that.
for anybody who's not like familiar, how would you kind of sum up a Dunkelweizen? It's kind of
It's
like
dark
it's a
wheat,
dark,
isn't it?
wheat
Yeah.
beer, isn't it?
So it's not dark in the way that we'd call a dark beer would be a stout generally.
It looks
wouldn't
more
it?
like-
No, it's still. I
That's
mean,
like
it's still surprisingly light.
It is
Yeah,
right.
it's
It's
like
like
a very
it's like
light
a best
tasting.
bit. It's like a bitter kind of like a John Smith's kind of colour.
The other thing that I was going to bring actually was going to be a bottle of bitter, because I enjoy a bitter, but I would never buy it to drink at home from the
Yeah.
bottle. It's something that I'd happily go to the pub and drink, but not something that. But then I saw that and thought that was
I
just
should
a
have
bit
brought some
more
Evian.
interesting.
I should have brought some Farmer's Blonde, man. That missed a trick. No, that's I really like
I'm
that.
pleasantly surprised by
yeah,
that.
It's very surprising because I've only ever come across them doing quite traditional cask. So all of a sudden to find they're doing stuff like this is really interesting.
It's like sweet and malty, but not overly. It's
Yeah.
kind of, it's not sickly. Like
What's the percentage?
4.9.
4.9.
It's a good one for kind of middle of the. It's
Yeah,
what
cold
beer
beer.
3 or 5. It's just resetting the palate
Yeah.
really nicely. That.
They've
Yeah.
described it as well as a southern German classic with a northern England twist. They haven't specified what
I
the
think I
twist
can
is,
see
but
that. I
still,
think.
it's yeah.
It's like a,
it's
I would say
very
it's something that's
drinkable.
like kind of a bit like a best bitter kind of mood drinker. That might be a gateway for someone like that to try something a bit different. Maybe.
Or yeah, someone who drinks Erdinger or something like that.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and you or Paulan, and you can say, well,
Yeah.
this would transition quite nicely in because it's not a million miles from those
No.
because it's the same style, but it's
Especially because there's an Erdinger dark, which is kind of double
Yeah,
style
yeah,
as well. So,
this is nicer than that,
yeah.
in my opinion. But
Well, this is going to bring us nicely into probably the most difficult category of the evening for the Golden Hops, which is the best beer of 2018.
This was
And
the easiest one.
somehow we've got to get this down to 4 beers. Ali's literally run over to the wall
I've
to
got
to
two
pull
in
a-
my
to pull a
brain, but
bit-
so I've just got
yeah,
my
label
backup one just in case.
All right,
one
well,
of you
we'll
clowns
go
has
to
it.
you first, in as you've got yours literally in your hand now. You've got the beer.
Yeah, but this is my backup one, so I don't know whether to go for this.
Right, okay.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll just go with my first one. But no, actually, I'm going to go with this one because the other one is too obvious. My first one was going to be by Northern Monk, called Infinity Vortex, which is absolutely amazing. But I'm actually going to go for a Wylam, and it was all formats, which is a double dry hop citra pale.
Okay.
5.2%. Again, for me, nice sessionable pint, but absolutely superb. It's again one of those beers where I think we got it in on keg on 2 separate occasions, and we very rarely do that because we like to obviously change
Yeah.
and get new stuff in. But as soon as I saw this come available again, I had to have it.
You have to have it.
It's like Adam said, Wylam are just, or like yourself said actually, Wylam just they just do everything really well. They were up there again as my vying neck and neck with Northern Monk for my brewery of the year, and I just think, yeah, they're just really, really, really good. And
Cool.
yeah, so that all formats for me, the double dry hop citra, one of my favourite hops, twice the amount that anybody should put in, and yeah,
And well done, yeah.
Just-
I think I've had it in
cracking.
here 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
But it's just a good beer without trying
yeah.
to be anything clever.
yeah.
It was just a well done.
Again, I could go and choose a crazy stout or a mad sour, but for me personally, what hits everything, something that's hazy, hoppy, easy to drink, and yeah, as I said, it was a close one between this and Infinity Vortex, but
Okay.
this one's fresher in my memory because Infinity Vortex was back in March last year, but yeah,
Okay.
really good.
Laura?
Always say national for this.
I
I have a
No.
national and an international option.
I don't know.
I'll do
I
my
don't think we did
international
it.
as an honourable mention.
Okay.
Which is Kamaradski by Verzet, which I did pick as my, I think it might have been the July Hopcast. It was my beer of the month, and I said it was my favourite beer of my life, and I still stand by that.
I'm glad you went for that as the honourable
Yeah.
mention because I have no idea how to spell any of those words. I've got to try and keep a note of these.
So
So.
it's a hybrid between an Oud Brun and an Imperial Stout aged in balsamic vinegar barrels, and it was just amazing. Like, I had it on draft in Amsterdam, and it was so nice that I cried. But the one that I'm going to pick is, I'm picking it because I absolutely loved it, and it's a bit more attainable, and no surprises for guessing which brewery it's from. I've chosen Torside's Rauschwein. which we had on cask at their Smoke Fest. I think this was probably my December beer of the month when I drank it in November. I can't remember when we recorded, could be my November beer of the month. Either way,
Pub crawl.
absolutely incredible beer, and I'm very excited to see that they tweeted the other day that they'd gone for a sit-down meeting about what the first beer they were going to brew was in 2019, sat down, stood up again because they were like, yep, Rauschwein. So it's coming back, and I could not be more excited. So if you see it, buy it, because it's amazing.
Okay. Charlie, to you.
Right, wow. Infinity Vortex for me is second place as well. It's a fantastic beer, really, really good, and it just goes to show their consistency.
I feel we should point out at this point that for about the last 10 minutes, Charlie's been pacing around the pub looking at the various different the beer labels on the wall. If you've been in Bar Stewards, then you'll know that pretty much every beer you didn't have this last year, so everything that's on this wall now is a label from a beer from this year. Yeah. So he's literally been trying to spot every single beer label.
He's like in his own brain, just spinning around.
There can't be many beers that have been
the
released
one
this
I'm
year that
picking
you've
is
not
not on the wall.
considered. And it's not even on the wall.
Okay. My beer of the year is the Wonder Beyond Octopod, 12% Imperial IPA. It was insane. I mean, I've never had that much flavour in a can. And it was like a Solero with hops in it. And I basically was sat in here drinking it, and I did actually shout across the pub, "This is fucking insane!" And we sold 10 of them. So, I mean, that note to self as a selling technique is anyone, if we're in here and we're shouting that out, don't think that every beer tastes like this one.
It does. Every beer we endorse is amazing, and you should definitely buy all of them. Shut up.
But yeah, we had the 3 beers from them. We had the sour, the Loris,
the Mexican cake
Jesus
one.
Christ, really fantastic. I mean, burst onto the local scene this year. I hope to taste more of their beers in this coming year. I hope to go meet the guys. We're really excited about them. So,
yeah, but again, it shows you how subjective beer is, because I had that can and I hated it.
Yeah.
I thought it tasted of meths with mango juice chucked on the top of it.
Sounds awesome.
Which is weird because we usually like
sounds Moorish.
Well, it does, yeah. It's like crack. It's very weird. But usually we order the same meals. It's like it's a bit freaky, really. We order the same meals, we drink the same beers, sleep in the same bed. We do but it's one of those things where we it's usually a solid bet that if one of us likes a beer, the other one will really enjoy it. And that was the one beer for me that I just couldn't. It was just too much. Right. It was too much for me. I almost kind of shut down and just curled into a ball. It was just too much for me.
That makes me like it even more.
Well, yeah. Well, there we are. Yeah. Made me feel bad.
So we've got one spot left then for a nomination for best beer. Now to see whether or not me and Adam really are on the same page. When it comes
I
to
don't think we are.
beers.
Did we say this is national or anywhere?
Anywhere.
Okay.
Well, I think we're saying within the UK.
So national then.
So yeah.
Okay. In that case, because my two best rated beers on Untapped, which is I think it's a bit bad because sometimes you can be really in a different mood.
Yeah.
Weren't from Britain. One was Whiplash, and one was the one I mentioned for my beer of the month. So, scrolling slightly down to my next UK best beer of the year was Wylam Midnight Train to Biker.
That was very good.
Which is a 10% like
Had that hop city.
Yeah, it's on our wall.
Yeah, some of that.
We've had it in here as well. Yeah, it was good.
It's a big dark beer, and I couldn't believe it for 10%. It just was incredible. Is it like a black IPA kind of thing? Or
It was. It was like a dry hop black IPA.
Yeah.
It was the best of both worlds. It was delicious.
It claims it's a double New England Imperial IPA on Untapped, but that's not true. It was definitely dark. But yeah, so I'm going to go for that because that's basically at the time of that time. That's what I put down.
So that is. So we've got 2 Wylam beers in there.
Yeah.
That's
I can change my.
Plus it says Biker in it, which Biker Grove, Jeff Mann.
Yeah, absolutely. Tick the box.
See, I would genuinely have gone for Abbeydale Huckster as my beer of the year.
I'm surprised.
Well, do we, out of the interest of fairness, do we go for one wine beer?
Go for Adams personally. Because as much as I did enjoy that double dry hop one, I kind of forgot about the biker one, and that's really good as well. So I'll happily change my vote to biker. But, yeah, no, I'm happy to shift.
Good shortlist. Right, we're on to beer number 4, and this has been picked by Charlie.
Yeah, it's Imperial Stout, bourbon aged, around the 10.5%. So I've given everyone like a really big pour. From Magic Rock, we had it in our tap takeover. So yeah, it's still tasting great, which is good. It's quite subtle actually.
Are you going to tell them where it's called?
No. Bearded Lady, it's called.
So it was one of only 3 pins that were ever made of it.
I was going to say Bearded Lady is, I've had Bearded Lady in cans, but this is not the same Bearded Lady.
No, this is a barrel aged version. They had 3 pins, we got one of them, and yeah, it's pretty good.
We did have another stout from them, which they take the dairy freak and they put rum and raisin in it. It just tasted like rum. And it exploded in our cellar. We managed to salvage it, ready for the event. But yeah,
I came down on Boxing Day after the alarm had gone off to find a river of beer in the cellar, which I had to mop up, which was quite good. But it was salvageable and it tasted just mental. It was literally made of rum. It was unreal.
I mean, we're pretty much an hour in to this edition. We've not really talked about this place yet, because obviously we were here a year ago. You were relatively new a year.
Yeah, we haven't been going that long. I mean, we had our first birthday this year. When was it? July?
29th of July, something like that.
Yeah,
usually around that sort of
around tramlines.
Yeah,
it was our first birthday. Yeah, everything's doing all right. You know, a few things have changed since last January. Probably not that much.
Well, you've got blinds.
We've got blinds.
You've got a flipping beer garden.
we've got a beer garden.
We completed a whole year without getting fucking burgled.
The same door.
He's done this now, isn't he? We're getting burgled.
I mean, you got the same door.
Yeah, it's the same door. It's the best door we've ever had.
The great thing is you can't avoid touching wood in here, so I'm all right with that.
Any highlights? I mean, you've had the New Year's Eve takeover from Magic Rock. You had a big Northern Monk one as well.
Yeah, that was just done. Yeah, that was Sheffield Beer Week. I mean,
that was the most awkward weekend to try and do it though, with the snowstorm that was there.
Yeah.
I mean, if I will share the photos with the Hotcast so you can see. It shows a beautiful photo of the whole bar there, people enjoying a drink on the Friday night, and then Saturday night, the complete total of the marquee all folded in on itself, absolutely destroyed, covered in snow. Yeah, it was.
It was entertaining. No, I mean the highlight for me this year has just been the general progression of the bar. There hasn't really been one standout moment. It's, you know, we've had a really great year. You know, we're not a sports pub, but we are people that like to watch sport. So you know, we've had the Six Nations on. I didn't give a shit, but England did quite well in the World Cup, so we had that on.
So I remember being here for that. I don't remember much about it, but
you were definitely. And then just watching the bar progress, watch little things changing, plaster coming down, brick being exposed, a better fridge coming in, you know, increasing the range of beers that we have, gaining good stuff. You know, as we've mentioned earlier, we've been lucky enough to get Jay, who many people will know from the various stellar establishments he's worked in Sheffield. We've been lucky enough that he's decided to come work for us, which has been quite nice. So as I said, for us as a bar, it's amazing because we, you know, I've never denied the fact that I'm like just stupidly into my IPAs, and I've always tried to kind of have a broad range of beers in you, but having someone like Jay on the case who's able to just turn up and go, we should buy this sour, and I just go, all right, because he kind of knows what he's talking about, so it's good. But yeah, it's just been nice to see the bar progress, you know, get outside open, have some events on, and yeah, we'll just see what the next year brings, really. You know, we've got
our plans for the next year. I mean, essentially we're wanting to boost the bottle shop, take it up a level. We're going to get like a bit of top shelf in, a bit more of the 75cl bottle share sort of things going on. I mean, we essentially just go around the country, see good bits, and go, that'll look good in our bar. We should do it. There's no harm.
Yeah. In that. Well, yeah.
Trying to improve the courtyard, and just generally get it to a level where I think the courtyard was a great addition this year. We do have a little bit of work to do on that, but we want to try and make it a little bit more like a permanent fixture rather than a couple of gazebos and a couple of chairs.
I've never been in the beer garden yet.
We'll have a look at the end of the night.
The canned sticker wall is pretty
Well,
impressive.
yeah, it's amazing how many other venues in Sheffield have started spontaneously doing the same thing. It's
looking
quite
nice and even now. I think there was a period where his
dude, yeah.
development where it was quite heavy
again,
on
Jay's much taller than us, so basically
No,
we got to a point where we couldn't reach any higher, so we just went across the
so we hired a manager. So.
No, we hired a tall man.
Well,
But the key thing is that what I do like about the sticker wall is that essentially it is customers mostly.
Yeah,
I mean we have obviously contributed a great deal, being like a set of twats.
Yeah.
but you know it's been. I mean, because some can't tell. Sometimes someone puts a sticker in a place where it shouldn't be. You go, no, play by the rules.
We'll put it 13 feet high.
Yeah. But you know, the exciting thing for us going forward is that we have to be behind the bar less. I mean, you know, I think one of the unique selling points about this place when we first started was us. You know, the Bar Stewards is the name of the bar, but it was me and Charlie. We are a pair of bar stewards, and you know, I think to begin with, people would come in because we had good beer, but also because one of us would be behind the bar, or we'd both be behind the bar, and it would, you know, and we kind of tried to encourage that environment where everyone that came in was welcome, and you know, you knew you could come in and have a nice chat, and we'd have good beer. You know, as I said, we've been lucky in the fact now that we've got a really good core range of staff, we've got a really good bar manager, and that kind of frees me and Charlie up to be doing stuff to make this bar even more exciting.
Drinking, yes,
you know,
drinking. Just need to point. Adam was doing the drinking.
Well, yeah, no, that is true.
Actually part of the job.
That is true, but it gives us the opportunity to go. So these brewers that we buy, it gives us a chance to go meet them, and it gives us a chance to go and actually show our faces to people. You know, we're not daft. We know we are, you know, still a very new bar in Sheffield, and there's still a lot of people that probably don't know about this place or don't know about it very well, and it's our job going forward this year to make this place a really, you know, like a one of those places where if I'm going out in Sheffield, you know, there's a few places that I always go to. The Rutland's on there, the Shakey's on there. Yeah. You know, if I'm going up that way, Walkley Beer Company's on there. There's a handful of really good places, and we just want to be one of those places that people think of to go on and have a good night out of. Which, yeah.
Okay, let's get some opinions then on the Northern Monk Bearded Lady Special Edition.
Magic Rock.
The Magic Rock Bearded Lady Special Edition. I always kind of bracket those two together.
If Northern Monk do a shaven man version, then
you'll be right. Shaven monk version.
It's exceptionally boozy.
It is very boozy, but I think it's quite mellow if you consider how ABV it is.
Yeah, it's boozy, but you could still just go.
Yeah, exactly.
You get over the booziness really quickly,
yeah.
And then suddenly it's quite drinkable. And
It's like a melted. It reminds me a lot of a melted ice cream.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Like, you know that it's heavy.
Yeah.
You
Like
know
a
you're going to
milkshake.
feel sick if you drink a pint of it, but it's really nice.
I think
it's just making.
But it's got that mouthfeel as well, though. It's like really claggy in it.
Make you feel really warm inside.
Yeah, that would be the alcohol.
I basically exactly what James said is that when I smelt it, I thought, oh shit. Like, you know, you got a few beers in, you're thinking, I don't want to be smashing that in the middle of like a few beers.
It's that,
but it's really, once you've had one sip, two sips, then eventually you think, you know, this is not 10.5%.
It's that feeling, right? It's
4.5.
that feeling when you're dying, you're lying in the snow, dying, and that St Bernard comes over the hill, and it's got a little cask, and you have the little shot of rum or whatever is inside.
And licks your bollocks.
No, it doesn't save you, but you don't mind dying. That's pretty much what that is.
So basically what you're saying, if you were dying, if we can lift your chin about, I've got
and
some
it would make you feel really lovely and warm inside, but
you'd
still die. Yeah, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
Did anyone, I don't know if you know the answer to this, on New Year's Eve, did anyone try and order a pint of this or similar strength?
I don't know, because I wasn't stood behind the bar.
No, there was one guy. Right, if I can name two instances. One instance, someone ordered a pint of the tiramisu, which was a But
Really?
Yeah, it was about
10.5%. Yeah.
So there was tiramisu stout and keg that they ordered.
Did they get served it?
They got served it. They
What?
drank. It wasn't free.
That's a bit irresponsible. Did that?
You see, mate.
It's fine.
We don't sell pints of 10.5% in here.
Right.
They got 2 halves.
They're good. They got one massive hand. There we go. Anyway.
Yeah.
And my dad got a pint of stout because he got the name wrong, and then he came back drunk and looking really confused and going, "This is a funny looking IPA, this one." I went, "It's all right, Dad, I'll change it."
And then he left.
And then my mum sent him home. So.
Yeah. Good times.
Brilliant.
But yeah, I think mostly people stuck to thirds and halves.
Sensible drinking, guys.
Very, very sensible. We've got one more category that we've got to sort out, and that is best local venue.
Dum dum dum.
Okay, Charlie, I'm going to go to you first.
Well, my pick is actually going to be the Rutland. I really like what's happened to the place. I mean, I went drinking there years and years ago before I got into interest in beers even, and I liked it then. But I think obviously since Chris and Kate took over, it took another level. You know, Chris is obviously renowned for his time at the Shakespeare, and he brought all of that with him. And weirdly, the customers are different there. You know, I mean, as in, I don't necessarily go to the Rutland and see everyone that drinks around this part of town.
Yeah, true.
It's its own unique experience. The food there is fantastic. We've gone down there and ate numerous occasions and been very, very happy with everything. There's always interest. You can always get a good beer, and then obviously you're always going to get a challenging beer as well. I think if you're in that mood for just having sessionable strength beers, you've got that option always. But then there's that other aspect where you go, what the hell is that? Let's try that. I can only wish them every success, especially now they're trying to open up around the corner here, but I think this area in itself, we kind of don't feel like we're part of Kelham Island. Gibraltar Street and this little area could potentially become its own little pocket.
Yeah,
Shell's more triangle, man.
Shell's more triangle.
The share try.
The share try, yeah.
So the Rutland. For me.
Okay, Adam.
I think I've got 3 pubs that are just always stick in my head, and it's here. So Bar Stewards, it's Shakespeare, and it's Rutland. And I think last year I was swaying between you guys and Shakespeare. I think I gave you the, but moved offices slightly close to, well, not really closer, but slightly more closer to Rutland. And I think I've just kind of almost got more of an affiliation with it now. So I think that's actually took my number 1 spot this year. Just based on this year alone, I think I spent a lot more time there than anywhere else. And we got to know as people were there more. Obviously, Kate as well, we did the interview there, so quite friendly with them. And it's just nice to see it just kind of booming again. So that's now taken my number 1 spot. Honourable mentions again, I said 3 pubs, you guys here and Shakespeare, they're basically my little triangle, Sheffield triangle of pubs.
2 nominations for the Rutland. Wow.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
It's like, go on, sorry.
This is interesting. Al.
I don't know. I love. You mean Shaky and Rutland are 2 of my favourite places to drink. I think they consistently have some of the best keg in the city. Shaky certainly has very, very good cask in there as well. I mean, I love my bar. I really like it here. You know, we kind of built a bar that we want to drink in, and I know I'm not going to nominate myself because that's fucking ridiculous, but I do really like this place. We built a bar that we want to drink in. So just trying to think, you know, there's other places I like. I really like the Walkley Beer Company. I think it's probably one of the first ones in Sheffield that were doing what we do, really. You know, they set up with a bottle shop and a few keg dispensers, and they've gone from strength to strength. So I do really like the Walkley Beer Company. Unfortunately, it's somewhere that I don't get to go to very often. So it's kind of one of those where I like it, but I don't go there that often, and that's not their fault. That's my fault. I have a busy life. So I think I'll personally go for the Shaky, just because I think it's consistently, you know, it's between Shaky and the Rutland for me. You know, they do great tap takeovers. The pair of them, they've both got great lineups. I just think possibly the cask range in the Shaky is a little bit stronger than it is in the Rutland.
Yeah.
Rutland tends to have very good cask on, but obviously they've got consistent lines that they have in all the time. So yeah, exactly. And I like Ruby as well, by the way. But yeah, for me, I can't nominate myself, so or ourselves rather. So yeah, Shaky. Shakespeare's is it's been my go-to for the last few years, and I love it over there.
Probably no surprise then our first two nominations being Rutland and Shakespeare's. Laura, what are you going to bowl in?
Well, I was going to go with the Rutland, to be honest, because I've kind of adopted it as my local. I do really like the pubs that are near me, so sort of round Healy, like drinking in the White Lion, the Sheaf.
Yeah.
I think Paul's a really nice addition to the scene, as is the Tram Shed. I love drinking around here, love Bar Stewards, love Shakespeare's. So just to be different, I'm going to go for the pub that I don't get to go to very much, but the place that I always get really excited when I get to go there, and when we make the effort to do the about an hour and a quarter walk from our house, or 2 buses, which is the Itchy Pig in Broomhill. And I'm picking the Itchy Pig because it's a little micro pub, I think capacity of about 24 people. They just always, you can tell they've really put a lot of care and thought into what selection of beers they want to have on the bar. You're always greeted with a really warm welcome. And I just think it's lovely.
Yeah,
so,
Ted's a top bloke.
Yeah,
he really is,
yeah. So purely because I wish I could go there more, and it's somewhere because there's not as much around it that excites me. Like if you're coming down here, you know, you can have a brilliant evening in 4 or 5 different pubs. But for standing out and making me walk to Broomhill, I'm going to go for the Itchy Pig.
Okay. Which leaves us with room for one more nomination. And I mean, there's so many places that I could put forward. On the same basis, I know it's a place we've talked about a couple of times. Walkley Beer Co, I think, would be well worthy of a nomination. It's kind of, you know, in a place where it's sort of on its own a little bit. Obviously, where I live in S11, you've got Ecclesall Ale Club, you've got the Beer House, which is great. Loads of really good places that have kind of opened up in the last 12 months. I'm going to do probably the least surprising thing I've ever done, and I've got to nominate you guys. I've got to say this place. I've got to do, because I spent more time here during the summer than I spent in my actual house that I paid rent for. Mainly because of Gareth Southgate and the World Cup.
Yeah.
But you know, this place for me was where I was during the summer, and I associate it with such good times watching England. Great beer, great company. And just, you know, an amazing summer, and fair play to you guys for the fact that we were here a year ago. What you've done in the 12 months that have gone since then, you've developed this place, but it's kept its heart and its soul, and it's still the place that you set out for it to be.
Yeah.
It's got bigger, but it's still effectively a micro pub. It's still got it's still a little place with a big heart, and that's that's really impressive.
Oh,
That's a really
And you can have that one.
No, it's a really good point actually, because like these guys know that, like, they know my daughter Penelope, and like if I say where is the Mucky pub, she thinks it's here.
Yeah.
She also thinks it's the Wisewood because it's next to her house.
Yeah.
That's the one with the blue lights. But like I got a picture from a year ago on like Facebook thinking, I remember us sitting down there and you guys went down into your cellar and brought up some toys and some books and stuff.
Yeah.
She did smash a glass.
She did, but that's why I brought it up, so she didn't fucking wreck the place. I thought she's a bit lively, she needs distracting.
But it's one thing. It's like there's a lot of pretentious beer places out there, and to have somewhere that we're comfortable in, and with we don't want to say bring all your kids there because no one wants that, but to have to be fine said that.
No, and that's lovely too, because that's
like,
what we've always wanted to do. You know, it's everything about this is us. You know. For good or bad, I'm sure there's people that we rub up the wrong way. I rub him up the wrong way all the time. But but it's this place is us really. You know, you walk in here, it's a bit rough and ready, but deep down it's a place with a lot of effort put behind it. You know, we fucking
built
worked
out
hard.
stolen pallets.
They weren't.
I mean, you could say I mean, you could say somebody who's like maybe like more like traditional drinker. This isn't like a craft ale, but this has very, very good like cask beer on.
Yeah, exactly.
And options for like you got.
It's trying to keep that happy balance between the two, because I love massive keggy hot bombs, but then there's also nothing better than a really good pint of cask. Like I said, to be fair, one of my beers of the year is Heathen on cask, because I used to love it when it was Mosaic on keg, and then it became cask, and all of a sudden it's like, this is pretty good, isn't it? And I think and going forward, whatever happens over the coming years, it'll always have the same vibe about it as long as we're involved, and it's our bar. If we're not
One
involved.
thing I really love about that shortlist that we've got, that's the 4 places in Sheffield more than anywhere else that I think when you walk in, you can feel the personality behind them.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of pubs in Sheffield, we've got a lot of good pubs doing good beer and good food, but there aren't so many that you walk in and you feel, it's like walking into somebody's house and you're whoever's behind the bar, you're greeted really warmly, you're going to get something great to drink.
Exactly,
and that can happen with a good pub over time, is that if the personality leaves the business, then sometimes the fun goes with it, unfortunately. So.
But for me, that shows how good Shaky is, because obviously Chris has moved on and gone to the Rutland, but it's still retained its, good beer, good, warm welcome. Yeah, I think we're exceptionally lucky in Sheffield to have such a vibrant pub scene. Really, I mean, I you kind of take it for granted, and then you go to another part of the country and you're like, this is a bit shit, because you suddenly realise that what you've got is so good. I live near you. I mean, we've got some of the best locals going, I think, and the Brothers and the Sheaf and the White Lion. We know Ed really well. I popped into Paul, cracking place, really good introduction to the area. It's good times, man.
So we've got a really good shortlist there. Okay, so on to our final beer of the night, which is one that I've brought, and I've gone down the barrel age route because I don't normally tend to go for barrel aged beers, because there's that many good beers that are IPAs, double IPAs, double dry hopped IPAs, sours. There's so many good beers that I'm into that I just generally don't kind of tend to go down this particular route. So it's a barrel aged beer which is by a relatively local brewery. It's been in my fridge for about 6 months. So it's kind of done a little bit more in terms of the aging.
Fridge aged.
It's in a Sheffield Wednesday carrier bag, which makes it even better. And it is Love Among the Ruins, which is sour red ale with cherries brewed in Burgundy barrels. There's a lot of bees going on there. However, it has a cork. It's like a champagne bottle with a cork on top.
Like a mini champagne.
I can't do these things. I don't have to do that. I've got 2 of them. So.
I'm going to say, that's not going to go far, is it?
Especially once you've shook it up and fucking sprayed it all over the room. Right? That's what you do, isn't it?
I have had a few of these. They're rather lovely.
Are they?
I don't know if I've had this before.
I smell it. I smell that pop.
That made a very polite little pop, didn't it?
This is potentially the best noise we've had.
This is
on
satisfying.
In fact, let's just have a moment of silence while I do this one. We're ready.
Hey!
That's a good noise. That.
I like it actually got branded Thorn.
Ready to go again?
Thornbridge.
It's a branded cork.
Cork, yeah. This one's mine. Where's your lot? From what I remember from this, there was a series of, was it 3 or 2? There was Love Among the Ruins, Days of Creation, and another bit. But I'm sure that they took them to America, and they were the first non-American brewery to win the Gold Award for that category. Like no one ever outside America had ever won it. But when they brought this out a couple of years ago, I think it was quite
You could buy Thornbridge in New York like 9 years ago, because I went there on holiday.
Yeah.
I went there on holiday. I went to this. It's near Cat's Deli. It was this big. It was
Cat's
like
Deli.
It's awesome, but it was attached to this massive like kind of department store, and they had like a beer bit in the back. It was fucking awesome. So I was having a wander around, and this guy comes over and he goes, "You're English," and I just went, Yeah, because it's easier
Yeah.
to like kind of say yeah than have the discussion. And he's like, oh, we've got some great British beers in. I was like, I'm in America, I don't really know British beers. But he's like, oh, so I'm being polite. I went, all right, yeah, okay, grand. And he showed me, and it was like literally like 4 or 5 shelves full of Thornbridge. Jaipur, you know, when Jaipur was Jaipur, when it was like really good. Yeah, it's like Thornbridge are one of those the kind of.
So yeah, Rick, you won the World Beer Cup gold medal winning beer for 2016, the wood aged sour beer category.
Oh, that is pretty good.
Have you ever had it before?
Fuck's sake. Yeah. That is pretty good.
What's mate's name?
Don't know. That's lovely. That's really nice.
So I think there's 3. I think there's the gooseberry one, isn't there? Which is there's loads.
So I don't remember the gooseberry one.
But there's like coconut.
I don't remember.
All
I had
sorts
the
in there.
gooseberry one at the ale club.
So the gooseberry one is a thing.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a
I
thing.
don't
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
it. I don't remember it.
The Heart's Desires it's called. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I mean, this one I had at Hallamshire House just before Christmas, and it was so good I had 4 more.
I did see your face when the bottle came out. You were like, ooh.
In the same evening.
In the same evening, I had about 5 in the same evening.
This has made it round.
Certain.
Oh, it's only 7%.
I think this one particularly is. I don't know if they made more of this, but I've seen this more than any other one. Like they were pouring this at Indie Beer Feast, I'm pretty sure, and it was like stupidly cheap. It was probably like compared to what a bottle is, you're basically paying.
There was the raspberry.
Which is the. Was that Days of Creation?
No, it was a different one. There was a
right.
raspberry.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah.
It wasn't that one.
That's pretty good.
What I've really liked this year and that I hope to do more of this year is seek out the festivals that aren't quite so shouted about.
Yeah.
Because they're some of the ones that I've really, really enjoyed. Like, Indie Man's fantastic. You know, absolutely no doubt about it. I haven't actually been to Hop City or Dark City, but I can imagine like the
It's
level
money.
that they're doing is fantastic.
Yeah.
But I just really like the ones that don't shout about themselves quite so much and that are a little bit more relaxed. Like the other one that I could have very easily put forward is the Independent Salford Beer Festival, which is tiny. It's in a community centre, but it's all about obviously the beer, but then it's the people and the experience that you have while you're there just as much as it is the beer. And there's nobody's showing off or trying to, you know, have the absolute best beer they've ever had of their life or anything like that. It's just chilled, unstated, friendly, and there's a lot to be said for that.
But you know, if you're going to go more local, I mean, we overlook Steel City, you know, down in Callum Island this year. I mean, you know, that's the best keg lineup I've seen them ever have. They've always do really well on cask. You know, it's refreshing to see camera events
Definitely.
embracing, you know, different dispense styles, because obviously they're, you know, traditionally they're not massive fans of keg beer, which you can understand because, you know, they were created in a time when keg beer was absolutely
It's changing,
atrocious.
isn't it? It's definitely changing. You saw it just in the space of 1 year, the difference. I'm not just talking about the keg lineup, but just the general attitude towards it all. You know, and it does mean that that particular festival has a wider ranging demographic than it did ever before. So yeah, good.
Okay, so we've got one job left that we've got to do tonight. We've had 5 different beers. They've ranged, I think, fairly dramatically in terms of the styles that we've gone through this evening. We've got to pick the best. Adam, I'm going to come to you first.
Love Among the Ruins, Thornbridge, hands down. I think I've had it a few times, but I think I've forgotten how good that is. I've not had it for maybe since summer, maybe, and that's absolutely incredible. That I think it's just so much depth to it. That's it. I was just.
And I'm done. I'm
not
sorry.
going to say anything more.
That's fairly definite. All right, Charlie.
Same. Obviously, I enjoyed it a lot just before Christmas. Didn't expect to see it tonight. I'm glad I have. Just the complexities, especially that sometimes you feel like you're tasting a normal cherry and then it suddenly tastes like a sweet cherry, and that's constantly moving and changing all the time. So yeah, it's great. Love it. Fantastic.
Okay, Laura.
Well, I agree that this Love Among the Ruins is the best one, but I'm not going to pick it because it's not a new beer. and I'm being picky. And I do think that it has changed and developed since I last drank it, so it is a new beer from that perspective. But I'm going to pick the one that surprised me the most, which is the Blackjack Wild Weather one, the Pining for the Fjords. Just because, it's not a kind of beer that I would go for, and I thought it was really enjoyable.
Very good.
Okay. Al.
Yeah, I agree. That's exactly the one I was going to go for. As much as I enjoy this and it's amazing, I looked at the combination of breweries who I like but don't massively excite me, But yeah, I thought, like as you say, you look at the bottle and you go, all right, okay, well this will be interesting, and actually it was, surprisingly good. So for me, as much as I love this Thornbridge and it is absolutely banging, for surprise value, I think that first one certainly was one for me, definitely.
Okay, this leaves me in a really awkward position.
Just choose your own beer. That's what you're going to do.
Yeah, but that would be really self-indulgent. So bearing that in mind, what I'm going to do is pick my own beer and go for Love Among the Ruins. And the thing actually that swayed it is that literally, Charlie, as you said, that you get a bit that tastes like a certain kind of cherry and then it changes. I'd got that in my mouth.
Like a boiled sweet cherry,
or
an actual cherry.
The complexity for it to do that, and it went from one kind of cherry to a different kind of cherry, and then it just turned into coconut for a second, and then changed back again.
It's like play a cherry
that's
word
when your mouth went a bit
game, and
weird
it's
again,
all
I
the
think.
first thing.
For me, bear in mind I've got a faulty mouth as well. Like
There's some
my taste
chapstick in there.
buds are
Pain. There's
a vegan sausage roll in here. There's everything going on.
Yeah, there's a hint of Calpol in there.
Tofu
Cherry flavours.
What I want to see is who was the best bottle label peeler, and I want to see it on this wall somewhere.
You ain't getting that on the wall.
You ain't getting that on the wall. Yeah, that's not going to get off the bottle.
Well, let's see who's got the best.
We need to
bottle
wet it.
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
So
We need to keep on,
I
too.
can't. I know I brought it, but I do think I've got to go for that. I think it's the best beer of the night. So.
Shit, I thought it was going to be really good, and I just tore the edge off. Wicked. Yeah. Done. Podcast over. End.
If only people could have seen what just happened.
It wasn't that exciting. I literally tore a label. But yeah. Anyway.
So there we go then. So Thornbridge, Love Among the Ruins, just gets the nod as our favourite beer of the night. So Tryanuary is yet young. If you've not already gone out and tried something that you wouldn't normally do, forget about going through January without drinking, because that's stupid. Go and have a beer, but have something that you wouldn't normally have. Don't forget, so we've drawn up our shortlist tonight for our 5 different categories for the inaugural Golden Hops Awards. You can vote on our Twitter page at Chef Hopcast. And let's go and enjoy some more beers, guys.
Yes.
And we'll speak to you again in February.
And happy birthday, Sheffield Hopcast.
Yay! Happy birthday, us!
Remember that bit.